Surprise!
We laugh.
Yeah, always laughter.
Welcome back to Performance Check, everybody. We're talking about episode 50, the final episode of the Blockbuster list of bestsellers. 3-episode arc. We're here. We finished it. I have an immediate, very important question for Curt McKinstry. Is Ant a pyro now?
I'd say yeah. I mean, I think he's on his way to becoming like more of a fire based sorcerer. I think he's really keen on. He got a taste of the fireball, and now it's like he can't go back. And like Curt as the player was like, this is a cool thing. I could totally run with this.
That's right. Fireball is addictive.
It is, right?
Any time a wizard or sorcerer gets fireball, it seems to be all of these problems are nails, and I have this hammer.
Yeah. It's true.
Get out of the way.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of those spells that the creators like intentionally overpowered? Fireball?
It was designed to be
maybe.
dramatic,
I don't know.
I think for some reason, like there was something I saw that the creators were like, we made this too much damage for its level because it's the coolest spell we thought of.
It's so dangerous. It's almost impossible not to hit your allies. It's so fun.
Yeah, you have to use it at the right time, or you're right. You can take out people you don't intend to take out, which can also be kind of fun, maybe. I don't know, like in terms of gameplay, like that risk that's involved.
Right.
So, speaking of spells, because this is something that I totally forgot about, is that Zrill has spells. I fully forgot that Zrill had spellcasting capability, and then you brought out Armor of Agathist. What? I don't even know what the question is. Do you want to talk about your spells?
Sure. Yeah, when I got to one of the level ups, it was like you can take an ability score improvement or a feat. And I looked at the feat, and one of them was Magic Initiate.
Oh.
Yeah. And I've played 2 other characters before, and they're both spellcasters. So it was like weird not really having a range. Like I could shoot stuff with crossbows, but that was it. So I looked through this, and then I was like, oh, I could get Eldritch Blast, which is a spell that I thought that my druid could do, my first character. And then I learned that I could not do Eldritch Blast with her, and I was very upset. So when I looked at this and I was like, she can hit things and shoot lightning, it was very exciting. And then with the Armor of Agathis, I was like, she tends to be like very close to bad guys all the time. So armor would probably be a good thing, but it's hard to know when to use because I can use it once, and I need, I think, a long rest to refuel it, and we do 3-episode arcs. So you just gotta like, and then I put it on, and then we didn't fight anyone, and I was like, all right, well, at least I used it.
Oh, but it was so cinematic when you used it. It was great.
Yeah.
Right, in conjunction with Ant's mage armor.
Yeah, zing.
Calvin, Ripley was rolling hot on some of those stairs athletics checks, but then he also got his almost legs bitten off by a mechanical train. How did that fight go for you?
Honestly, the train the train was an interesting thing because I think in my head all I could think of was that this is a train. Why is it attacking?
I love
trains. Why does it keep coming back at us?
Why does this train hate me?
Yeah.
And because it passed by Zrill, and then I was like, all right, well then that's it. It's gonna keep going, and then it looped around, and I was like, what do you mean it's looping around? So
it was just a warning shot.
Yeah. So
No, it legitimately missed Zrill. It went for Zrill, but she annoyingly jumped out of the way.
Yeah. Anywho, so according in my head, I was like, well, I'll just wait in this building, and then once it crashes into the building, that's got to be it, right? Like, how much farther can this train go?
And then you did the deceptive thaumaturgy, right? The all aboard. No, what was it?
It was this is the end of the line. Everyone, please exit.
Oh, yeah.
Choice.
Great.
Choice.
That was great. And good for you, Emma, for having the New York subway ding.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is my Emma question. So what was the sound you're most proud of in this episode?
I was pleased that I had the opportunity to use that train bell because I was like, I don't know, I'll just have it around. It's kind of fun sound to have on file.
When would it ever come up in a fantasy game?
I was like, today's the day. No, I think my zombie train sound was good. You peek behind the curtain at Kevin and I were the first two on the call yesterday, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a train sound?" I was like, "Yeah, you told me about this 3 weeks ago. I made a train
It's
sound."
all ready.
I was pleased with it.
And speaking of the train, Kevin, there was an interesting spot where Zrill got inside the train, and you decided to, I think, lower the AC of the train. Can you talk about your little bit of your DM brain of what calculations you made from the outside of the train versus the inside of the train?
Well, the outside of the train's all metal, so it had a pretty high armor class, and it was really obviously when you're hacking away with an axe on a train, your best bet's just like the gears or whatever. So I think that's why the high armor class sort of reflects that. But as soon as she gets inside, then it's all squishy, right? It's all upholstery and plastic, and it would be wood, I guess, in that phrase. So I thought it was legit that she would be inside the whale, hacking away at the soft insides as opposed to the hard shell on the outside.
A very Geppetto
Although she
moment.
did have to remind me that she had the lower armor class, and I had legitimately written down a 14 armor class, which was like 3 below the external armor class.
I was going to say I wanted the numbers, but we got them. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Just say that was like one of my favorite things I've ever done as a character. Was like lasso the train and jump inside. I'm not an impulsive person, and I made an impulsive character, and she is terrifying to play, but it worked. And I did it, and it was so exciting. I was like, I've been on such a high all day.
There was a few times during the show as the MC, I was like, man, it would be great if they squeaked right here. And then they did, and I was like, our audience is really up in their game.
Yeah. Hey, props to Sylvia, the goat, showing up.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
My favorite.
Yeah.
Can I take her back to Candlekeep?
Yeah, it's
Girl
okay
absolutely
it's
would be
okay with
fine.
me. We'll see what Jen has.
Try and find out.
Yeah.
I also really liked that. Yeah, there was Zrill was doing lots of great things. Zip
Rolling
line
well,
was a great suggestion. When then we had the whole scene around the
Yeah,
zip line.
the zip line.
That was
Oh my gosh.
an extra 20 minutes that I didn't know I had to budget into the adventure.
You said there was a zipline, Kevin. You have the power to say no.
Yeah.
I know, but a zip line
What's
is
so funny, Matt?
That is
You
so
made
great.
it appear.
I made the world. I know where all the little things are.
That's me learning from everyone else watching as well, because I would be scared to give suggestions, and then especially like the beacon holders I find always they're just like, what about this? What's on the map? Like, what are the coupons
Do
and
I
all this
find
stuff,
a
right?
pistol in this drawer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like just being like, oh, I can just say a thing. I can say whatever silly idea comes into my head,
Yes,
and
you
maybe
can.
we'll do it. And it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm just writing the structure. I'm not writing the details. I'm just laying out the paragraphs. I'm not writing the words.
You got it. That's half the player's job. You gotta throw some spaghetti at the wall until one sticks, and you get the cool weapon.
Okay.
And the other great thing, what I love about that, what we saw a lot of times from all three of you, was unintended uses of skills or abilities or spells or whatever, like Ripley's the Ripley's thing with the end of the line thing. All of those things, you're there. Despite the tight rules of D&D, it would function. It would function in a very, in my view, a very sort of sloppy way. Like you're just throwing magical energy and stuff, and you're trying stuff. So it's never going to be. I think if you try to sort of tabulate and calculate and formalize everything, it just gets too complex. But if you just go with it, like what are the stats for being able to hang on to a gnome while you're heading down a zip line? I looked in the DM's guide. They didn't have anything about gnome zipline stats.
What? They should.
Yeah,
They probably do. They
time to
probably
write an
do.
appendix.
Emma and
Yeah.
Griffin probably could have found them if I'd given them a minute.
No, the DC is always 12. I don't know. DC 12.
DC 12.
Well,
Yeah.
well, luckily for you, audience, that's why we're here. This has been the performance check, and I have to go deal with some Thomas the Tank Engine lawyers because Tommy the Train Engine did not satisfy them. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.